to KION News at 11. Going back over to the Weather Center with Chief Meteorologist Dan Sionga. We're talking about at 10. Seen a whole lot of everything this start to the year. January, February, a whole lot of weather.
Yeah, well, yes, and luckily things have been pretty calm for the last couple of days. And of course we had some very stormy weather last week, but not a lot on the horizon at the moment. So, rest your fears. There are some things to talk about, though, so let's get into it. Here is a look at how much precipitation that we have seen since the beginning of the rainy season. And these numbers are for the Salinas Airport. It's probably the climate site that has the best record here across the region. And I do get comments, people say, why don't you show Santa Cruz anymore? And my answer to that is the Santa Cruz climate site stopped reporting a couple years ago. So while I have data for Santa Cruz, obviously you can find temperature data and make stuff up, I guess. Not make it up, but find, there's tons and tons of people's backyard weather stations and things in Santa Cruz. But the official climate site stopped reporting, and the records are set for that official climate site. So I could, tell you how much rain has fallen in some areas in Santa Cruz, but you can't really compare that directly with that climate site that has stayed in the same place, for 100 years. So unfortunately, they don't have data for Santa Cruz. Salinas Airport, that one's been a pretty good data set. So here's where we're sitting at just shy of 8 inches, and that's where we should be for this time of year. Only 2/100 of an inch shy of normal, so 99.7. We'll take that. And that's after being at around 75% at the beginning of the month. So we did fall quite a bit. Well, not well behind, but we did fall behind, and now we've caught up. And taking a look at our 30-day rainfall tracker, we can see that most areas of the KION coverage area are running above normal. So you see the green and blue color showing above normal. There are some inland areas that are perhaps just a tad below, but not all that much. So that is some good news, catching up a little bit. Even most of the state doing okay. Portions of the San Joaquin Valley a little below normal, and the southern deserts as well, but much of the state normal or so for the last 30 days. We'll take that as it has. We just don't like the drought. We don't want to talk about the drought, even though we do have a special day for it. That's later this week. Look ahead, though, we do have our next weather system we're tracking. A weak ridge is going to start to build in through tomorrow and Tuesday, but then a system is going to slide into Northern California. We're going to catch the tail end of that on Wednesday afternoon. Could bring a little bit of light precipitation. I'm not expecting it to be a big deal, though. Mostly some light showers around the bay. If that changes at all, we'll let you know, obviously, but in the meantime, for the next 7 days, it's really the only chance of rain that we are tracking here in the Weather Center. Now, we did have a cold front kind of move through today, barely noticeable. We did see an uptick in clouds from it, but out there tonight, it's helping keep things a little bit moist and cloudy. And so we actually might pull some drizzle out of the clouds through the overnight hours. It is pretty damp out there right now. It feels kind of humid. But drier northwesterly flow will kick in tomorrow, and that will kind of mix some of that moisture out, although not all of it. As we look at our future track, waking up tomorrow morning, probably to mostly cloudy skies around the bay and into those interior valleys. Patchy fog possible during the afternoon. Tomorrow, we're going to end up partly cloudy with those northwest winds kicking in. If you're headed out to do a lunchtime walk, maybe in the city of Salinas, temperatures close to 60, partly cloudy skies. Might be a little bit windy at times, and we'll call it partly cloudy for the rest of the day. Perhaps even more clearing by the time we get to around sunset, as the air does slowly dry out with that northwesterly flow. Winds could be 20 to 25 miles per hour tomorrow, especially in the exposed coast and in the valley. So a little bit windy, not extreme winds, but just a little on the windy side tomorrow. And temperatures look like this. Will be in the low 60s in Santa Cruz and Capitola. It is worth mentioning, though, behind our cold front tonight, the air mass behind it's about 7 degrees cooler at mountaintop. So that is going to translate to the lower elevations as well. So areas that were in the 60s in the Santa Cruz Mountains yesterday may not get there tomorrow. So, or I should say today, won't get there tomorrow. Upper 50s Bend Lomond and Boulder Creek, and low 50s up in the Dune, end up at the summit tomorrow. Scotts Valley, you eke out a 61 tomorrow. On over to the east shore of the bay, highs in the low 60s Aptos to Watsonville, upper 50s Marina to Castroville, low 60s Salinas, Hollister, Gilroy, Morgan Hill, you stay in the 50s tomorrow. On over to the Monterey Peninsula, expecting highs all in the 50s, mid to upper 50s at that. 58 Monterey and Carmel tomorrow, 56 in Butterfly Town, and down south we'll get into the low 60s for the most part. Carmel Valley, the one exception in the south, mostly because you might have a few extra clouds hanging around tomorrow. But how about Bradley? 65 is our warm spot tomorrow afternoon. 7-day forecast for Coastal City showing we warm up a couple of degrees on Tuesday, and we have a system coming through Wednesday. We'll bring a slight chance of some showers, then another batch of wind behind it, but even warmer temperatures. High pressure is going to rebuild. Temperatures should be above normal probably Friday through Sunday at least. So we do have some slight warmth coming our way. And as we look at our inland forecast as well, also a little bit of a warm up on Tuesday. We cool back down with that cold frontal passage and some wind Wednesday into Thursday. But by Friday, we're back above normal. And by the weekend, well, right now the weekend looking pretty nice next weekend. So if you have those outdoor plans, it's a great time of year to go hiking. Everything's nice and green. The creeks are full of water. The trail's a little muddy. Make sure you wear those boots.
Got to be prepared.
Got to be prepared.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Keeping us prepared.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.